Remember her? Rita Ford. She was in the Runaways. Remember that? Remember the band, the Runaways with Joan Jett? It ain't no big thing. I went to a party late Saturday night. I didn't get laid. I had a fight. It ain't no big thing. Hey man, cock rock, hair band, right? The anesthetization, it's like a drug the thinking mind with shit rock, cock rock, right? Focus on the penis and the vagina. Don't focus on the issues. That's what that's all about, man. That's what that shit was all about, man, in the 80s, right? It's not just the 80s, but throughout history, right? Good music. It's a cock block, right? What is a fucking cock block? What the hell am I talking about? What does cock block and Rita Ford have to do with Pete Buttigieg jumping in front of Bernie Sanders with the assistance of CNN, actually orchestrated by CNN and the New York Times, are cock blocking Bernie Sanders, right? Remember, the big move covers the little move. I want to dive into the election. Hey, listen, man, I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to be distracted, by bullshit impeachment bullshit, right? Fucking focus on hating Trump, getting America to hate Trump rather than look at the hijacking, the stealing of the election, using the mind fuck, using the gaslighting strategy of throwing a shit sandwich out in front. Cock block the shit out of Bernie Sanders. Cock block the motherfucker, right? That's what they're doing, man. That's what they're doing, man. It's so obvious. It's so fucking obvious, right? So just here's Nancy, nasty Nancy, right? All week long, all the way up. We're 77 days away from Iowa, the Iowa caucus. The Iowa caucus is coming up in 77 days, where the Iowa people are going to vote for a Democrat, right? They're going to pick one. They're picking fucking Pete Buttigieg. What? Do you believe that shit? That's what they're promoting. That's what Nancy Pelosi's in the House trying to get rid of Trump and keep everybody focused on Trump. They're trying to stuff Pete Buttigieg up everybody's ass. Right? Because why? Because that's why. Because Pete fucking Joe Biden's falling off, right? So let's look at the poll, right? Here's the lie. Right? The CNN lie, right? So CNN puts out a poll yesterday with the Des Moines Register. We'll look at that too. And you'll see New York Times co-signs the bullshit, right? So they got Pete Buttigieg, 25% of the vote, Warren 16, Biden 15, Sanders 15. So they're sticking in because they lost control of the Biden narrative. Kamala Harris is falling like a rock, right? They got nobody else. They got no other centrist candidate to promote down to the sleepy masses. Remember, the big move, impeach, while they do the little move is cheat and so they can hold on to power in the House, right? They don't care about losing to Trump. Trump is a winner for the Democrats. Trump is business as usual. Trump is, let's talk about impeachment. Let's talk about, how stupid Trump is, with the stupid things he says, right? And everything keeps going. The money machine keeps going. The war machine, the counterinsurgency wars, everything stays the same with Trump. The Democrats know that. But if they get that, if Bernie Sanders, oh my God, if he slips in, right? If he could slip into the presidency and start talking about the real shit that Americans need to hear about, universal single-payer health care, right? And all that stuff, right? Get out of the wars, get the money out of politics, right? Really start to work on behalf of the American people, right? A real populist, with a real populist message. Bernie Sanders is clearly the strongest candidate in the field. He has the best ground game. He has the most volunteers. He has the most money. He's winning. Right? Sanders is winning. But if you turn on CNN or New York Times, they'll tell you why he can't win, why he is not winning, and in fact why the unknown mayor from fucking I don't know where, Pete Buttigieg, the 37-year-old nobody with no policies and no message and no ground game and no support, is winning. That's what you're expected to believe. It's a gaslighting. It's insulting. it's insulting to one's intelligence to think that Pete Buttigieg is a full, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 10 points higher than Bernie Sanders. Unacceptably ridiculous. And just the other day in other states, let's see, where's the last national poll? The last national poll that was published was Economist YouGov had Warren 26, Sanders 17, Biden 23 again. And they had Buttigieg at 9. So, but that's a national poll as compared to the Iowa caucus poll. Buttigieg. The big move covers the little move. The big move right now, they tried Epstein, that failed. I tried Russiagate, that flopped. Now we're going with Ukrainegate, right? Trump is a Ukraine apologist. He's working with the Ukrainians to engage, to fake the elections, right? To interfere with our elections. That's what you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to swallow. It's so ridiculous, man. It's just so ridiculous. So watch so that's the fake poll that CNN puts out. And let's look more. They did a video too, but let's look at what the New York Times says. Right. So Pete Buttigieg jumps out to the lead. Oh, you know what? Let's look at one other thing first. Follow the money. The Des Moines Register, Des Moines, I don't know how you pronounce it, but in Iowa, the newspaper, 59,000 circulation. Who owns it? Gannett Company. Follow the money. Follow the money. All right? So Gannett Inc. is a publicly traded American mass media holding company in McLean, Virginia, in Greater Washington, D.C. It is the largest U.S. newspaper publisher as measured by daily circulation. So it's a conglomerate. It's a unified voice. Right? It's one voice. Right? It's not some isolated little newspaper in Iowa. It's fucking CNN and this conglomerate right here. They own papers in Detroit, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Tennessee, Kentucky, Phoenix, right? Milwaukee. You follow the money, right? So that's all I'm saying about who you always have to look at. Do you believe CNN? Do you believe if CNN has a like an 8 or 9% approval rating, right? 8 or 9% of the people believe CNN, and the other 92% think it's full of shit. That way more than half of the country actually calls it fake news, and we're expected to believe CNN in conjunction with a pay-for-play Desmond local newspaper. And that's who we're supposed to believe, right? It's just a total fucking rig, man. The fix is in, right? But we have to expose it. We have to talk about it. I know. It's just such a waste of energy to even think about, politics and election politics. And right, I know what you're gonna say, right? Fuck you. So Pete Buttigieg jumps out in the lead in the Iowa polls. Mr. Buttigieg had a surprisingly robust lead in the latest Desmond Register and CNN poll. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Joe Biden were in a statistical tie for second. New York Times. Remember the New York Times? I was talking to somebody the other day, right? Yesterday, right? And I said, they asked me where do you look for your reporting? Like, what magazine? What do I look for? What do I look? Because hey, I'm just a little guy in a little room, walking around with a stick in the park, right? What do I know? But I follow what mass media, major media do I follow? And I said to myself, well, it depends. If I want to see like total fake news spin, I'll look and see what the New York Times is saying, for example. And if I want to look at something a little more statistically accurate, I'll look at the New York Post. And she said, don't you have that backwards? Isn't the Post the tabloid and the New York Times the tried and true? I said, no, not anymore. This shit is backwards, man. It's totally, the New York Times is a total for sale rag. They don't even own the building that they reside in Manhattan. That they during the 2008 crash, they were so leveraged on the building. They built the building, and they leveraged all their assets on it. And then the markets went bad, and they had to sell out. They had to sell the fucking building and rent. New York Times rents the New York Times building in Manhattan. They rent space inside the building. They don't even own it. That's how fucking much of failures they are. It flops, right? So, big news covers the big move covers the little move. Big move. Impeach the president. The little move is rig the election. Pete Buttigieg continues to surge in Iowa, leapfrogging Elizabeth Warren and former Vice President Joe Biden. They don't even mention Bernie Sanders. The polls show that Mr. Buttigieg, 37-year-old mayor of South Bend, Indiana, was the first choice of 25% of the would-be Democratic caucuses. How many young people did you poll? How many fucking young people did you poll? What did you vote? What did you poll? Old fossils? Old moderate Democrats with rotary phones? Come on. So, here's CNN touting it. So that's the New York Times. It's legit. It's legit. No, CNN, the polls are legit. We believe it. You should believe it too.
It is a Buttigieg breakout, jailbreak in some sense. So here we go. Here are the November numbers. Buttigieg, 25%. Warren, Biden, Sanders, basically all statistically tied, 16, 15, 15. Klobuchar is actually in fifth at 6%. And Harris, who was the person in fifth place previously in our September and June polls, all the way down to 3%.
What's he doing?
Look at their numbers. So Buttigieg went from 15 in June down to 9, up to 25 in a month. What did he do different? He didn't do anything different, right? It's again, you got to stomp Bernie Sanders. Put Bernie Sanders on the bottom of the list. Bottom of the list. It's just a rig, man. The fucking rig is in, man. So what are we going to do about it, right? So I don't know. What are you going to do about it? I know what I'm going to do about it. I'm just going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep checking it out. So Bernie Sanders is definitely getting cockblocked by the New York Times, CNN. We already knew that. But the new form of cockblock is to throw the mayor, the deadbeat mayor, Pete Buttigieg, the young, articulate mayor with no message of hope. Keep things the same. You can't have universal health care. It's all crazy. It's all bullshit, right? That's what he's saying to the American people. Now, do you believe that shit, man? Because I certainly don't, man. They could kiss me once, kiss me twice. Come on, pretty baby. Come on.